Reading is fundamental.
What's up, everybody? This is DeWitt Scott. I'm back again with another book review, reviewing the books that I've read that I feel are prevalent to many readers out there, particularly from a financial standpoint. And the book that I am reviewing today is a book that is entitled The Wake Up Call: Financial Inspiration Learned from 444. It's a book that was written by Ash Cash. And Ash Cash is a well-known personality who breaks down the ideas around money, around investments, and around entrepreneurship. And he's also author, written a number of really good books. This here is my favorite Ash Cash book because he talks about he uses JayZ's latest album, which came out about 6 years ago. But JayZ's latest album, 444, and he uses that album and the lyrics and the inspiration and the knowledge that JayZ drops in that album, and he uses it and turns it into a book. And he breaks down all of the hidden gems in that album in this book. I mean, as much as I love books and I love to read, man, I love hip hop music. JayZ is one of my favorite rappers of all time, and I really love the 444 album, so much so that even right here, I got the 444 on vinyl, right? In the age of streaming, I have it on vinyl. But with the book, The Wake Up Call, Ash Cash, as I said, he sort of goes through the album and he walks anyone who has not heard the album, or even if you have heard the album, he put those lyrics in book form, right? And overall, the album, both the album and the book, talks about the need for financial freedom. And financial freedom is defined in a number of ways by a number of different people. But in this particular book, Ash Cash is sort of talking financial freedom from an asset of building wealth, having ownership and control, and being able to live the life that you want because you have done what you need to do financially. Each chapter is titled after one of the lyrics or one of the major lyrics in the album, and I think it's just really dope just for the fact that I've never really seen a book or album broken down in book form, and then to have an album that came out that was so heavy on financial literacy and on getting your wealth in the proper place. That in itself is revolutionary. And then you have a book that breaks it down in a very clear way. I'm a huge JayZ fan, as I said, so I know JayZ's lyrics, and Ash Cash really hit him right on the spot when he's breaking it down. Some of the main themes in the book is understanding how to put your money into assets and letting those assets appreciate in value so that they give you a solid net worth. A lot of people in American society, right, and many of us, not all, but many of us have jobs. We have some sort of income, some constant income, whether it's a lot of money or whether it's not so much money. But what Ash Cash is saying in this book, in The Wake Up Call, is that whatever money you get, obviously you have bills and you have priorities and things that you need to take care of. But what we all should do is take a portion of that money and find some sort of way to put it into income producing assets, whether that be real estate, whether it's stocks and bonds, whether it is starting your own business. Whatever it is, at some point you have to have ownership of some sort of assets that produce income, and assets that appreciate over time, assets that you can hold on to for a long period of time, and hopefully assets that you can pass down to other family members or close people, loved ones, in the event that you pass on. So that's a big theme that's common throughout every chapter. And that theme also ties into another, which is about using ownership as a means of community empowerment. And this ties into a lot of other Black financial scholars who talk about community empowerment, Claude Anderson, as well as Dennis Kimbrough. They talk about how the Black community overall lacks the level of ownership that many other communities do. And that lack of ownership is connected to a whole lot of other social ills, such as mass incarceration, such as underemployment, undereducation, undesirable crime levels, right? All of these things can be traced back to some degree, right? Not solely, but to some degree traced back to lack of ownership in businesses and lack of ownership in just things that could provide value and money for the community. So that's another key thread, right? Also, too, a really big one in the book is understanding that credit is, or the credit score is what many people refer to as the adult report card, right? It is your report card as an adult that gives your record of how you performed when you have had creditors or people that you owe. And if you don't have good credit, you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage to building wealth, right? There are a number of wealthy people who use credit, they leverage credit to their advantage to get things started, to get funding for things they want to do. And that sort of the outcome or outgrowth of that is now they have money coming in, they pay off their creditors, the credit score stays high, and they continue to have more and more assets. And that's a huge thing in our community, in the Black community, that's touched on in the book, and again touched on by Jay-Z. Other topics that are very important is the need for multiple streams of income, and a very important topic to me is the idea that there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Being rich means having a lot of money, maybe having a high income, but being wealthy means having a lot of time to yourself, or time for you to do what it is that you want to do. Rich people, they get up and they make a lot of money. Wealthy people get up and do exactly what they want to do in the morning, regardless of what it is. They are free. They have their 24 hours to do what they want. And that's so important. Jay-Z talks about it. And as I said, his album came out 2016. It's been 6 years. Jay-Z hasn't put out an album since. But with the understanding that he doesn't have to work per se. You can get up and do what you want. And that's a really key definition, man, of what wealth really is, man. Being able to wake up in the morning and do whatever you want to do, and not do anything that you don't necessarily have to do. So again, man, this is a really dope book. I recommend it to anybody who wants to understand financial literacy, wants to understand what it means to build wealth and ownership. And I absolutely recommend it for anybody, a huge hip hop fan, and also into the financial literacy space or understanding building. Again, the book is called The Wake Up Call, Financial Inspiration Learned from 444, the album 444, and it's written by Ash Cash. So check this out, man. It's a very affordable book. It's a quick read, but man, it's a book full of just gems and just really important information, man. So one of my favorites. Check it out.
Reading is fundamental.